Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to create a project which will not only be interesting but also very useful. You would have seen in your organization that most of the employees have HR policy related questions, and it takes long time to get the response from the HR team or read the policy documents. Wouldn't that be very useful if you have a chatbot which is integrated in the Microsoft Teams and that provides the response only from the policy documents, so that you don't have to read the policy documents or reach out to the HR team for a very basic questions. So in this video, I'm going to create a chatbot application using Azure OpenAI and the Retrieval Augmented Generation with Azure AI Search. And later we'll integrate that application with the Microsoft Teams so that anyone in your organization can install the Microsoft Teams app and can get answers for the policy related questions. So let's start. I'm logged into Azure portal now, and let's go to Azure AI Foundry, which was previously known as Azure AI Studio, where we'll create the hub first and then the project. And after that, we'll deploy our embedding as well as LLM model. So let's look for Azure AI Foundry, create a new hub. I'll create a new resource group also, RG Hub. Okay. I'm in Australia, so I'll use the Australia East region. Name Shalender Hub 01. And as soon as you create a hub, it will connect it to the Azure AI Services OpenAI. In the storage, it will create a storage account which will be connected to the hub and the key vault where the credentials will be saved of that storage account. In the networking, I'm leaving it as public so that I can access it from my laptop. And in the identity, it's system assigned managed identity. However, we are accessing the storage account using credential based access. And in the storage account access, there are two options: credentials based access or identity based access. So I'll use the identity based access here. Review and create. It will run the final validation and then I'll just click on create. Now the deployment has started, and I'll pause the video and we'll be back once it's completed. Deployment is successful. So there are 4 resources which are created. One is hub, another one is AI services, then the storage account and key vault for credentials. So let's go to the hub, and in the hub, I'll launch the Azure AI Foundry. And as soon as you launch the Azure AI Foundry, you have to create a project. So I'll use the default name and just create the project. And once the project is created, it creates an OpenAI endpoint where the Azure AI service endpoint is also provided. But these are all through the hub itself, as you can see with the name Shalender Hub 01. So now first thing first, we need to deploy the LLM model. So let's go to the models, deploy a base model. In this project, we want a base model with more tokens available because we don't want our LLM to use its own knowledge or check from external resources. We want our LLM to use the Azure AI search and get the information from the policy documents itself. Here we want the chat completion model. So you can inference task, you can look for chat, selected, and it will just show you the chat models. So I'll use the GPT 3.5 Turbo, which has 16K tokens. Let's confirm and create resource and deploy. So model is deployed now. Now open in the playground. Let's test it if it's working. Which is the fastest car? So it's Bugatti Chiron. So that's the correct answer. But we don't want our LLM to provide the information using its own knowledge or external sources. So let's add your own data. So add a new data source. But for adding the new data source, we require Azure AI Search Service, which is not deployed yet. So let's cancel this. Go to the Azure portal, look for AI Search, and create a search service. I'll use the same resource group RG Hub, Shalinder Search 01, and Australia East. Change the pricing tier to standard, should be okay. So I don't want any scaling and I don't want any private networking. So public is fine. So review and create and create. So the deployment has started and I'll pause the video and we'll be back once it's done. Oh, it's already done. So it's all good. Go to the resource. So Azure AI Search Service is deployed. If you would have seen my previous videos, I use the import and vectorize data from here, then add the private data in the storage account, create the connection, create it into chunks and vectorize it from here itself. But Azure AI Foundry is a platform which provides all these capability from itself. So we'll use the Azure AI Foundry to do all these things. But before adding a new data source, we need to have a connectivity with the Azure AI Hub. So go to the management, connected resources, create a new connection, and Azure AI Search Service. And this is the service which we have deployed. Add the connection and perfect, it's done. Now go back to your project. Now to the playground, and in the playground, the deployment model is already selected. Add your data, add new data source. So now you can use the different services. If you have done the import and vectorization in the Azure AI Search already, then you can just directly use it. Otherwise, you can use the Azure storage account or data in the Azure AI Foundry, but we don't have anything set up. So I'll start uploading the file. It will use the storage account which is created while creation of the hub. So upload files. So there is Australia government leave policy document. So I'll just upload this. So let's check the reason for the failure. Because we use the system assigned managed identity and the hub has access on the storage account, but not me. So I have to provide myself a blob data contributor on the storage account this. So let's quickly go here, look for the storage account. IAM, add role assignment, and blob data. So blob data contributor, I'll add myself. So Gmail and review and assign, and the role assignment is done. So let me close it and try it again. Add new data source, upload files, leave policy, and perfect, the file is added now. So next, drop down to Azure AI Search Service and it will create a vector index with the name this. You can change it to any name, that's all good. So next, it will add the vector search here and it will use the Azure OpenAI connection. And next, now what it's doing is it's deploying the embedding model, and usually here it deploys the embedding model ADA2. However, there are two more embedding models which are available. Embedding model 3, small and large, but it will use the ADA2, create a vector index. Now the chunking and indexing of the data will happen. It's allocating the compute resource in right now, but if we'll go to the data and indexes, the data is uploaded here. If we'll go to the indexes, click on the vector index, go to the job details. It opens in ml.azure.com and it shows that whole pipeline. Where are the different steps? First, it cracks chunks and embed the data. Then it updates the index and then finally registers the index. So right now it's on the stage where it's waiting for compute resources, which is standard E4DS version 4 virtual machine. So once this is deployed, it will start the chunking of the data and it will follow all the steps. So I'll pause the video and we'll be back once all the steps are done. It took around 5 to 10 minutes and indexing is complete now. As you can see, first it cracked, chunk and embed the data, then update the index, and then registered the vector index. And if we'll go back to your pipeline, here you can see all the steps are shown that it's done, completed. Now let's go back to Azure portal and to the Azure AI Search service. And there in the indexes, you can see the index is created. And let's try to search something. But before that, let's open the document, the leave policy document. Let's check the annual leave. So employee receive 4 weeks of annual leave per year of service. Look for annual leave. And it's finding the information on the annual leave from the document itself. So now let's test this with our LLM, because LLM will provide the better result, which will be more human. So let's go to the playgrounds. This is the model which we have selected. Already our index is selected. So let's go to hybrid semantic so that it provides a logical response which makes sense. And you are an AI assistant that only provides information from the private indexed data. Always provide the reference document. So let's apply the changes and try this. Hello. How many annual leaves can an employee take? So unpaid parental leave is available for the employees who have not completed 12 months. They are eligible for 12 months and all. And it's providing the reference here. So it's getting from this document. And it just provides that information from the document which you are looking for. You get the concise output. And if you want to read more from the document, or this is a grounding document, so you get the details here. You can read it from here. That's perfect. Let's ask something which is not in the document. Which car is fastest in the world? And let's see if it replies on this. And perfect, because we said only provide the information from the search. So it's saying it's not found in the retrieved data. So please try any other query. You can provide the message here that in case someone asks something different, in that case you can provide that this is just a policy search document. So and then it will just provide that message, and you have to define the context in the system message itself. So now we are utilizing our LLM with the private data using Azure AI Search. So now there are options to deploy this. Either you can deploy it as a web app or a Teams application in the zip file, or to the new Copilot Studio. We are not using the Copilot Studio, and for now you can use the Teams app.zip file and then upload it to the Teams as an application, but this requires a little bit of coding understanding. We'll use the no code option and deploy it as a web app and create a new web app, Shalender Teams app 01. And this is my subscription. Let's use the same resource group, RG Hub, Australia East. And in the pricing plan, I'll use the standard S1. And we can enable the chat history, then the Cosmos DB will be deployed, but let's leave it for now and just deploy the application. So in the backend, it will create the app service plan and then deploy the web app. First, it will deploy a basic .NET web app and then Dockerize this chat playground application where we use our LLM and AI search and upload that code into web app. And then our web app will be ready. Though this is a default web app where it will use the name of Contoso, but for this POC, it's fine. And another way is you can make the changes in that web app, or you can deploy it using a virtual machine as a proper endpoint and then use that endpoint in your web application and then deploy it to web app. I have already made a video on that where I have shown how to create a prompt flow and then deploy a virtual machine, and it will act as an endpoint, and that endpoint can be used anywhere. So I'll provide the link of that video in the description of this video. So I'll pause the video now and we'll be back once the web application is deployed. It took around 15 minutes and now the web app is deployed. So on the left side, if we'll go to the web apps, so there is a web app which is deployed. So if you click here or go to the portal, look for web app, go to the app services, there is a web app which is created and you can go directly from here. So this is the link. Let's try. How much are unpaid parental leaves? And perfect, it's providing the response which we're looking for and it's providing the references too. And you can read the snippet from the document here. So that's all good. That's all what we wanted. Now we have a web app which is ready, which is running on Azure App Services. But our goal is to create a Microsoft Teams app which users can easily use it in the Microsoft Teams itself. So let's go to Microsoft Teams. And on the left side, there is an option of developer portal. Click here. Click on create a new app. Let's provide the name of the app. Leave policy, HR leave policy. Add. And now you have to fill up few details. So the short description, leave policy for made for cloud org. So let's copy it here. And then the name of organization, made for cloud, and URL of the website which we have created. It's a web app, so this is the URL, application URL. And in the app URL, for the terms of use and privacy policy, I'm just using the same URL because I don't have any specific. And now you have to provide the application client ID, because when you create a web application or the app services, it's registered in the Entra ID and you have to get those details. So go to Azure portal, Entra ID, and in the manage, go to app registrations, view all applications in the directory, and let's check which one is recently created. So this is the one. Actually, I've tested it multiple times before creating this video. So I'll copy this, go to the teams, copy it here. Okay, and save. Now for the branding, you can use the different icon. So I'll leave the default icon. Now in the app features, you need to create it as a personal app so that it can come on the left side. So click on personal app. So create the app tab. HR leave policy. Content URL will be the link of the website. On the website URL, so it's a personal tab. I'll use the personal tab everywhere. Confirm, save it, and perfect. Now we are ready to use, so let's publish it first. Publish to your organization and publish your app. So it's submitted. So once it's submitted, you have to get it approved in the admin portal. So you have to go to admin.teams.microsoft.com. You should have appropriate privileges, admin level privileges here. And once you are in the Teams admin center, you have to approve this app. On the left side, you have to go to the Teams app, manage applications. And you can see here in the pending approval, there is one submitted custom app. So let's search for it. Here it is. It's right now it's in block state. So click on this application. And there is an option called as publish. You can reject also, but let's publish it. And perfect, it's published now. So if we look again for HR leave, so you can see it's allowed now. So now go back to your Teams application. It usually takes from minutes to hours. So go to your application. Let's see if it's available. Otherwise, I'll pause the video and I'll be back later. And search for HR leave. And here you go. Made for cloud, HR leave policy, add. And let's add it here. And open the app. You can see on the left side, HR leave policy. And perfect. In the Teams application, now you can see the web page. So let's start the questions now. Hi. How much are unpaid parental leaves? And perfect. Now it's giving the references also so that you know it's not hallucinating. And you have the information. And if you'll apply this in your organization, then you don't need to go to the HR or read the whole policy documents. So as I said, it's a very interesting as well as useful project. So that's all for this video. I hope you liked it. Please like and subscribe. Thank you so much.